Hello, everyone. It's James Marcum with another biblical prescription for life. Glad you joined me. And if you like this type of content, I want to encourage you to share it with your friends. Leave a comment as you are increasing our knowledge base. Let us know how you're doing and if you like this type of content. Today, we're going to talk about, again, natural remedies, the next level. And specifically, we're going to talk about garlic today in its use. And what I found in studying about these natural remedies, there's so much to learn. And unfortunately, there's no schools that are out there that have this comprehensive knowledge base. And as you look, you realize that these natural remedies, they interact with each other, they interact with medications. The dosing and the way it is absorbed is very different. So there's really a need to understand this better. A few weeks ago, I talked about ginger, and now I'm going to talk about garlic. So let me start with a biblical text here, and that's very interesting, and it's Numbers 11, verse 5. And I don't think I've ever used numbers before, but I think you're going to understand why I use this. So this talks about Israel complaining about food. How many of us complained about food? But anyway, in Numbers 11, verse 5, it says, "We remember the Israelites, the fish which we ate freely in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic." So this really leads us into talking about natural remedies, garlic, the next level. And when I say the next levels, I think we have to have a better understanding of garlic, how it interacts, what it can be used for, the pros and cons, how to take it, what's reasonable. So the garlic is a relative of an onion, also is a relative of leeks, shallots. These are types of plants called alums, and they've been around for a long, long time. As garlic was mentioned in Numbers 11, verse 5, we've also seen that the ancient Egyptians used onions, the Greeks, the Romans, and a lot of this garlic now is produced in China. And it is a bulb, and here's a picture of the bulb, and inside it are cloves, 10 to 20 cloves. And I think the benefit, the natural remedy benefit yields mainly because it has many healthy compounds within the garlic, including allicin, and that's spelled allicin, and there's many different sulfur-containing compounds. There's also flavonoids, saponins, there's a couple B vitamins, B6, vitamin C, minerals like calcium, potassium, phosphorus. And the garlic itself is made up of 59% water, 35% carbs, and some proteins, and it has some fibers. So that's what this garlic is, and it is a natural remedy, can be used for different things, including flavoring. But the difficult with the garlic, as we're going to find out, is how to use it, what to use it for. Well, the first, in reviewing the literature, one of the leading things that I think we can use it for is blood pressure. And here's a blood pressure study that I dug up from 2019. And I'm going to read you some of the conclusions here. And this was from the Experimental Therapeutic Medicine 2019. And the title of this article says, "Garlic Lowers Blood Pressure in Hypertensive Subjects." What I liked about this is it was a meta-analysis. It looked at a lot of different studies. So basically, as far as blood pressure goes, in summary, this meta-analysis of 12 trials and looked at over 500 adults with uncontrolled hypertension, and it consolidated, it brought all the evidence together from garlic to be effective in reducing blood pressure by 8 to 10 millimeters systolic, 5 to 6 millimeters diastolic, similar to standard blood pressure medications. And of course, everyone knows that when we decrease blood pressure, we reduce the risk on the cardiovascular system, heart attack, stroke, aneurysms. One interesting thing, the B vitamin status seemed to be an important factor for the responsiveness of high blood pressure in garlic in each individual. And they used the type of garlic they used were this aged garlic extract. So they use this to bring down the blood pressure. And when you think about the way you can use garlic, you can, of course, some people use the cloves. They put 1 or 2 cloves, they put it in some water, they crush it up and drink it. However, if you eat garlic on a regular basis like that, some people may not want to be around you much because garlic does give you some bad breath or halitosis. Um, and in taking garlic regularly, most people go with these aged um, garlic extracts. It's aged, it increases the bioavailability. It seems to do better as far as side effects. And one of the ways you can tell that you're getting good garlic is just by you can smell the capsules. You can smell the garlic in it. And remember, these natural remedies, a lot of the herbs that we talked about ginger, we talked about garlic. Remember, these are not FDA regulated. So we don't really know exactly what we're getting, but some common sense of smelling it, looking at it can tell us knows. But these galoric extracts, how much would you need? Well, in looking through the studies, you probably need at least 2 of these capsules, which is about 1 gram of garlic if you're going to take the aged garlic extract for treating high blood pressure. Okay. You can take a little bit more. The studies have shown you don't want to take more than 3 grams a day. That's way too much. But most of the studies change from 480 milligrams to 1 gram a day. That's pretty much what they give you. So, in addition to this chemical called allicin, it also has a chemical called hydrogen sulfide, and that's what needs the B vitamins. And when you mix this, it seems to have an effect also on the the arteries itself. And in one study I read showed that it might help with plaque, but it definitely seems to help with the endothelial function. That's the way the artery dilates, the function which causes clotting and storing different fats in the arteries. Garlic seems to help with that. The dose seems to be at about 1 gram or 2 of these 500 capsules. And the most efficient way I think of taking it is called the aged garlic extract. And you can get this on many health food stores. You can tell that you're getting the actual substance by just smelling it. Another thing that in the literature, so it's very good for blood pressure. Another thing that it seems to help with is infections. And here's an article here that talks about the antiviral potential of garlic. And so there's many substances, many articles that says that perhaps garlic is useful for at least viral infections, helps the immune system. Again, it's probably due to the allicin, the sulfur compounds that seems to help it. Another use of garlic is in lowering cholesterol. And there's several studies that have been done on this. And here's one that I pulled from 2018, shows the anti-lipid of garlic by reducing the total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol. So this was an article that shows that garlic probably has some beneficial effect on cholesterol, but it did not seem to be dramatic. It did not seem to be dramatic. So we talked about the forms of cholesterol. And if you open up this bulb, you're going to get cloves. You can take a couple cloves out of that. Of course, once you crush it, that's when you get the active ingredients, this allicin and the compounds that are being generated that also gives you the characteristic garlic smell. But most people do not find that the easiest way to use to treat these conditions. They find that taking these aged garlic extracts to be more potent. So that's what most people do. The aged forms seem to increase the ability, the bioavailability, and the concentration of these chemicals that actually help the body. Now, let's talk about some of the side effects. Well, some of the side effects, of course, you can have an allergic reaction to garlic. That's very rare. It can increase the risk of bleeding. That's probably the most serious. The most side effects I saw in the literature were if people had irritable bowel or reflux, it can cause that. But by far, the biggest one is halitosis or bad breath. Not so much seen in the aged garlic pills, but definitely in the people that ate cloves and took that a lot. Now let's talk about the drug interactions. Which drug interactions, prescription drugs, should you be very careful with? Well, any of the blood thinners, because garlic increases it causes the blood to be thinner, doesn't clot as well. So any of the anticoagulations, if it's used with garlic, can increase the bleeding risk. So therefore, people that are on warfarin, Plavix, aspirin, things like the newer class of medications, Eliquis, Xarelto, Pradaxa, any of the blood thinners you have to be very, very careful with because it is going to increase the risk of bleeding. So most people would not recommend using garlic regularly with those substances. Also, there's another medicine called saquinavir that's used for HIV. Certain blood pressure medicines, calcium channel blockers, Adalat, Procardia, Norvasc. And a lot of the reason for the blood pressure is because if garlic lowers blood pressure and you're already on a blood pressure medicine, the blood pressure could go too low. So most people don't use them with calcium channel blockers. The antibiotic Cipro or the quinolones has interactions with that. The TB medication isoniazid, and also cyclosporin and theophylline, as well as birth control pills. Most people will not use regular garlic in these garlic extract pills long-term with those medications as it increases the risk. Now, I'm just realizing that all of these herbs that people use, these natural remedies, also can react with each other as well. So because of the blood thinning effect, you have to be careful with garlic if you use it with other herbs that thin out the blood, like ginkgo biloba, the the omega-3 fatty acids, which thin the blood, vitamin E, even capsaicin. Even in ginger, you have to be a little bit careful to make sure it's not thinning your blood too much. So you have to realize that garlic, in addition to interacting with prescription pharmaceutical medicines, can also interact with other herbs and natural remedies, especially the ones that seem to be the most risky in garlic are the other natural remedies that thin out the blood. So you have to talk to your provider about your risk-benefit profile before mixing ginger with these medications, as well as mixing ginger with other herbs. So we've talked about the side effects. We've talked about how best to take it. We've talked about a little bit of the herbal interactions. We talked about the side effects. So who would probably benefit from this natural remedy? Okay, who would benefit? People that would want to take it probably regularly would be those people that might have high blood pressure and want to treat that with a natural remedy. So that would be one. People that it definitely shows to lower it in these studies almost as much as any medicine would without some of the other side effects, and it's probably less expensive. It does have drug interactions, but every medicine has interactions too. The second, it might help a little bit with lowering cholesterol. If you were a person that had a very poor immune system, were susceptible to viruses, it might help lower the risk of viruses a little bit. And in looking at it, because it has antioxidants, which help with free radicals, these garlic and onion products will also help you with inflammation to some degree. So it might help inflammatory conditions, bone joints, that as well. It also might cut back free radicals, which might help protect your DNA from mutations down the road. The specialists that know natural remedies the best, they're called the naturopaths. But remember, that's why I want to make some of these, because these videos, because not too many people sort of bring it all together. Talk about the medical uses, the side effects, when to use it, when not to use it, and give you a little bit more balanced information. So that's what I mean, taking these natural remedies to the next level. The bottom line is I think it can be very helpful for blood pressure, maybe some help with people that have weak immune systems, people that have cholesterol, a lesser effect, very useful for that. It does thin out the blood. The medicines you most have to be careful with interaction. Of course, the medicines that lower your blood pressure, especially the calcium channel blockers, don't want to lower it too much. Also, the blood thinning properties, you want to be careful with that as well. Interacting with, if you're on blood thinners, you have to be super careful, talk to your doctor. And also remember, you can have some interactions with the other natural remedies like ginkgo, omega-3 fatty acids. Sometimes ginger can interact with it as well, especially if you're mixing this with other blood thinning medicines. The side effects, other than that, aren't that many. Some GI problems out there, but the big one that limits its use is halitosis. If you're going to use it, aged garlic extract seems to work best at a dose about 1 gram a day or 2 of these capsules. So I hope this gives you an overview of the natural remedy garlic. I think it's useful, especially for hypertension, maybe for cholesterol, maybe to help enhance your immune system. If you're not on blood thinners, the risk is very minimal. It's been around for many, many years. I definitely think it's useful in making your food taste better, but I don't think that people will probably want to take it for blood pressure and cut up 2 cloves a day, put it in water and boil it, though that is an option, but you might have to deal with halitosis. So let's remember our text. Remember, let's not complain about food, as we saw the Israelites do in Numbers 11, verse 5. But remember, garlic has been around a long time. It's a natural remedy. If you haven't seen the one about ginger, I think that's a very useful natural remedy. And if you like this, give it a thumbs up, share, comment your experience using this natural remedy, because there's not a lot of scientific studies done by this from a balanced viewpoint. We have a lot of naturopaths that may not be familiar with modern medicine. We have a lot of the modern medicine that might not use the natural remedies, but I think there's a balance. There's a balance based on belief systems, on what you believe is best for your body. Here's the science, the articles behind this. And I think garlic is very useful for the conditions that we talked about. I'm going to continue talking about these subjects. If you have some different natural remedies that you'd like me to look into from this balanced approach, let me know, and I'll be back soon with yet another biblical prescription for life.